Mirage.
Yeah, map we just saw played, and played in the most aggressive way possible, and I think we'll see similar scenes here today between Space Soldiers and OpTic. Zataris and a couple of teammates take this fight from window. One kill going both ways. Another nice tight peek from Major. Ended in a headshot. Snappy answers back. And again, it's just Major now left alone in the window, but has safety. Config can help escort his teammates into the A site, but the fight's not done yet.
Engine now going to be able to try and poke himself out, and Config next up to bat, actually. He's going to move in, counters out Major's position in the window, and takes full control. He has not seen, however, Engine moving back through inside of the ladder room. And the T's are going to swarm around the B site here now, as they've managed to pull off that rotate. Engine kind of reading into it, though. He did see Config going through past the bench position and onto the sites. This is also going to pull the rotate from Calyx as well. Calyx doesn't realize, however, that Config's on the inside, so he opens up with a decent amount of damage and does even more on the next peak, bringing him down to just 50 HP. However, Calyx still has the USP. He only needs one shot to finish off the equation here. That's going to be one right to his dome. We do see OpTic moving in, though. They are going to be able to get positioned to be able to find their plant, and as Snappy finds that next kill on Calyx, it's not looking like Engine is going to be able to do all that much here, sadly. Stuck back on Cat. All three players from OpTic peek at the same time to guarantee that kill, and they do indeed do just that, as OpTic will win the pistol and go up 1-0.
There's really barely any risk in just going for the triple peek when you know they're that low, and you can just all go out and shoot at the same time. So not surprised that they pulled that off. And again, that was a 3v3 at one point, so to pull it into the 3v1 with the bomb plant, it's a really nice result for OpTic, and we'll look to convert this second round without any casualties as well. A couple of smokes in the hands of Engine and Zantaras, and a clear favor towards the A side of the map, one player in mid. And I'm curious to see how they're going to be refreshing these smokes. Looks like one was thrown, just a ramp, and I think they're using this to feign presence almost, where if the smoke goes down, it looks like, oh, they're trying to get us to go to B. Well, in reality, they're actually stacked up here. So I think if they resmoke it as well, it'll look like they're trying extra hard. So it's some kind of bait setup, basically.
And so now we are going to see, after a little bit of delay, OpTic finally moving in to take that map control. Starting it off in top mid, obviously Config has his position coming in through underpass too. He's going to be able to swarm in from that direction, and very easily OpTic will be able to take that control early on. Now it's about just transitioning it onto his site, which even that is not going to become too much of a problem for them, especially if they end up heading over towards the B-bomb site, which is looking likely considering the minimap. They'll run in there due to the gamble stack from Space Soldiers. There's not going to be a whole lot they'll be able to do. OpTic are going to walk right in, find that free plant, and the round will pretty much be over from that point in time. There's not any utility for Space Soldiers to really retake the site with, and obviously even with the forced weapons, it's not that impressive, and it's more than likely not going to be enough to pull anything off, especially not in a 5v5 fashion. Even have players like Snappy just holding in connector, expecting them to start rotating from the site, and he's right to do so. Oh, unfortunately, he still can't win out in the duel, though, as Ataris takes him down with the CZ. Yugi's close by on Cat, though. He can find the quick trade.
I was just going to talk about how that was a very important position for Snappy to be holding, as the rest of the team can kind of tether around him, but just an insane shot from Zantaris, or spray down, I guess I should call it. As everybody else is just going to go ahead and recycle their armor. It's always good because you know that the next round you've got to put up some numbers as well, and you don't want to have to just straight up give a bunch of pistol frags and let your opponents know that they can buy SMGs once again. Instead, they've got to take it just as carefully as they just did. But OpTic made a good read on the round, picked the B site, and as long as they scouted information properly, they should be able to be consistent in that. I did an interview with Stu at Dallas where he talked about how it's impossible to run an NAT go perfectly, because at some point, you know, somebody's got to see somebody, right? You can see a smoke or you can throw a flash, but at a certain point, you've got to give up information by putting yourself at risk, and that means that you've just got to do that as safely as possible, but by risking something or the minimal amount of stuff. And sometimes that means sending a Mac 10 flying into B while the rest of your team holds for A pushes. Sometimes that means just waiting to see if the CTs make a mistake, but that's why we see teams get ecoed sometimes, even with all the preparation in the world. It's just because you have to put some risk into it.
Well, as we do see OpTic making a pass that eco relatively clean. Space Soldiers at the very least keep a majority of their players alive, so they are going to keep some firepower standing here in this third round before they finally are able to buy up some guns. OpTic still taking it very slowly, however, just kind of crawling through the back B halls right now, along with keeping Snappy at the top mid boxes to watch out. Cajun's also even being cautious of a potential push from either Palace or the T ramp. They're remaining very proactive to avoid an aggressive play from Space Soldiers. Again, though, we have not seen anything of that such from Space Soldiers. They've remained, for the most part, incredibly passive, holding 4 players on the A site And even Paz can be considered an A player here. He's watching out towards mid, and has that very quick rotate over towards jungle should we see the connector presence come in. It looks like, though, this time OpTic is going to dive headfirst into the stack. So there might be a chance yet for Space Soldiers to find an early round here if they can pull off a few nice kills. And they're going to go. Cage and B starting it off, spots the players on top. Nobody's watching towards ramp for some reason. Both players were looking inside of the palace, so Cage and B and Yugi pick up opening kills, and Gage saves the day for the players back over on Tetris as they all get blinded out. It's left down to Major, as everyone is wiped off the board in the A site, and even Major won't be lasting much longer. Another clean anti-eco from OpTic, and they're well ahead now at 3-0.
Yeah, I think they were just a bit fortunate because they decided to push into Palace that one window of time, and if they had gone into Palace, or if it was before they pushed out and OpTic had made presence or taken a shot, then maybe those A-ramp guys could have been in danger. This man is hard to read. I don't know what he's thinking. So I don't know. I'm trying to sit down for a game of Texas Hold'em with this guy.
He's definitely got the poker face for it. So into the first gun round we will go. Space Soldiers with their first full investment. Sadly, utility is going to be a bit lacking because of the full-on force buy that happened on the second round from them. Just the basic smokes. One molly being found on Major, and along with a kill, too. Now the rest of OpTic are going to shuffle forward, but they're still letting Major pick up kills. He's got that position back over by the bench now. He's already been able to find 2 from there, and he's going to look for even more. Molly's going to force Paz up at the very least, but even when he's forced out, finds a kill regardless, knocking down Gade, leaving it on only 2 Gs. Now just 1. It's Snappy in mid. And the entire B team has failed to accomplish anything at all here.
Almost like an ice cream on a hot day. Every single person going into B. Totally losing their duel. That's a very new way to dab your teammate up.
To be fair, that was a good recovery.
Yeah, it was. The quick reactions.
He was like, oh no, I missed.
The flick back adjustment.
Yeah. Those in-game reflexes showing up even out of the game too. So that will, of course, put Space Soldiers onto the board first off here. It has not broken OpTic, though, due to the clean nature of their anti-eco. So they've got at least one more rebuy. Should probably get forced onto an eco afterwards. We're at least a half-buy territory. So they're sitting between 1 and 2K on most of their guys right now, and that's just not going to be enough to go for full AK buys again.
Standard mid-control out for the terrorists. CTs are looking to put pressure, but just enough. Oh, smoke goes up and Major takes advantage of it. Bulk overstayed by 1 second. Config now to take the next contact, but it's already 2 members of OpTic that have perished.
There's like a lot of their momentum all of a sudden due to the slow nature of the play. Once Space Soldiers got guns in these hands, they were much more capable to take these duels out in the open, and so far they seem to be winning them, at least judging by these first 2 rounds that have been played out here. OpTic are going to go for full control in mid now, as they do have Gade crawling in from underpass, but look, Space Soldiers have a plan for that too. Xantares has the position at window, and he's got another guy ready to jump back down and do some effort here. Xantares is going to do it all on his own, though. He did have the cat player Paz ready to take care of the underpass player, but oh, hold on now. They never even realized that Gade moved out, so he's got a great position here. But sadly, still working against the 1v5. The best thing he could get at this situation is just 2 or 3 kills. I don't think it's going to transition into a sight take anytime soon. He's kind of stuck here. Or at least he bypassed all those players. Calyx gets the spot on him, but Gade instantly executes Calyx. The smoke goes down so he can safely cross through the connector. But unfortunately, he's made the fatal mistake of not checking towards Ticket. So Major's going to run right out, finish off the round, and Space Soldiers now 1 away from the tie.
Yeah, it's a round where you do what you can, but in terms of quality rounds, I think Space Soldiers are ahead already. These 2 rifles are huge victories, and they've also done them in dominant fashion, right? Like barely losing anybody. Great spray here from Xantares. I'd say that as just a casual observer, and you'd have to ask him, but this is maybe his best map, or map that I think he got famous for being so proficient as a connector player who was able to turn his attention between all these 3 choke points, the Palace, A-ramp, and middle, and be able to have variable impact round after round.
OpTic are ready to go, however, now as they've got themselves braced for the entry. Going to start off more than likely from Palace. 2 guys going to be entering from there. Snappy and KGB move in. They have the utility to play out the round, but they don't have the guns. That's going to be the hard part about it. And I think Space Soldiers know it. Calyx pushes up the front triple, manages to take down 1 himself, and Xantares chiming in for 2 as he's knocked out Snappy and Yugi. Cajun first to find a trade outside of Palace, but it's just him along with Config left. Soon, neither of them, however, are going to be alive, and Space Soldiers clean up shop once again on the anti-eco, as they do indeed tie it up at 3-3, but we've got a buy round coming in from OpTic, so they've got 1 more chance to save their lead.
Yeah, it's clear a good night's sleep can work wonders. Space Soldiers are looking a whole lot more together at this point, And it's tough to see exactly what OpTic need to do. I mean, not surviving for the first 30 seconds is a pretty big problem, especially when mid can be a very T-sided affair. It's like, why isn't it that you can't establish control of something that should be handed to you with like certain smokes and grenades that terrorist teams up until now have developed to make sure that that is pretty easy and safe and consistent to accomplish. But apart from that, also gaining that 5v4 is a big one, and Xantares has been a huge reason why that's been a problem.
They're still going to continue to wait for an eventual peek, either from the cat position or window. The molly will force him out into the open, and he's been blinded as well. He's got to be careful now. Does have a bit of support available from Gade, but because of the molly, it's going to be heavily delayed. CTs choose not to make a move at this point in time. So thankfully for Config, he's going to be able to remain alive and well due to the CTs holding back their push. Not willing to risk losing their own life in the process here. It's still even 5v5, so there's a lot of risk on taking those more aggressive peaks, especially now that OpTic have successfully moved out from not only top mid, but the underpass as well. It's just not an area you can really play into. And we even see the T's take control of that window with Config going in. Xantares still holding on the other side, but Config's hungry. He wants that kill. Gade, in the meantime, has taken down a flank from the underpass, and Config knocks Xantares right out of the round, leaving only 3 still standing on the CT side, and they're all heavily split up, too.
Yeah, they've really eaten out the middle of the map here and circumvented the defense. Major's about to creep up on Config for a huge frag as Paz joins him in tandem from the other side of the map. Also gets traded, and now the B site is wide open as Yugi lays down that op shot on Major.
Situation looking like it was going to maybe flip back for Space Soldiers there for a second, but OpTic maintain, especially inside of the B-bomb site. And Calyx, whether OpTic knows it or not yet, is completely pinched here. Sadly, OpTic did not know it, so he's able to work his way back outside of it, can work his way over towards CT spawn, and is probably just going to chill here with the AK for the save. OpTic will win the round, and with that, they maintain their lead at 4-3.
Yeah, it's a low sample size, but if you look at the heat map for these past few rounds, I think the main difference is that OpTic was able to successfully take window as opposed to just like connector or cat or top mid, and that's been a big reason that they were able to win. I like that they focused on underpass as opposed to top mid, because for one reason or another, we're getting picked, even though they should have had safe options to approach it. And once they got in, it was pretty easy for them. They knew exactly where to go from there. So their biggest challenge so far is something as simple as mid control, and they figured out a solution it's not so unorthodox. It's just less common, and sometimes that's what you have to do. Now, got a similar setup. 2 to top mid, 1 running all the way up cats. And Space Soldiers have a lot of money. This is a round that they like to see normally, but they're moving a lot faster now. This connector smoke is not going to dissipate in time.
OpTic's going to continue to move through, however. They're trying to push towards connector right now, and as they moved in, they still have to account for Paz. Paz himself, though, looks a little bit timid to actually make the push out on the cat and commit himself to it. Doesn't know how many players are out here from OpTic, doesn't know how much control they have, or even where they're positioned. So it's very risky for him to make that kind of a play at this point in the round. Chooses to fall back and is actually expecting a cat play, so he's going to go inside of the ladder room instead.
Paz here. He's just got to sit and wait. He's happy to have gotten this far. Here in Yugi's something, but he's also got a teammate. And now down to 19 HP without even seeing anybody. It's a mentally difficult place to stomach. OpTic clearly want to kill him, but don't have a really easy option to do so. Snappy's now cleared everything and spams him.
Both Major and Xantares come back with 2 kills of their own, so the advantage flips right back over to Space Soldiers' court. Xantares actually finding 1 more from the arch position, knocking out Gade this time. And a great nade, though, coming out from the player inside of the apartments. That's Cajun, bringing Xantares' HP down very low. The problem for Cajun, though, is he just does not have the right to initiate here. He has no clue about what's waiting for by Be'An or even the bench position there, too. And because of that, just has to slowly walk back out, and that's where Xantares is going to pick him. Less than 20 seconds left now. It's looking like Config's falling back for the save. Just makes it behind the top box. He's going to be careful of that jump, though. It's not the first time we've seen him almost lose his life to it. Oh my god, he does it again. And finally goes down also to Xantares as he shows up with a massive 4K, picking up 2 kills in mid and 2 kills in the B site.
Absolute monster. He was listening to the analyst death for sure. He's fired up. And this is the Xantares we know and love. So he's been a big problem for them. I mean, he's just playing window, connector, up and B in that round. So him being all over the place is obviously the most difficult part for OpTic to try to figure out what to do. And the great part about Mirage is you can always go back to A takes. There's a million ways to take the site, and you can be really creative about it. And there's almost a situation for every kind of every amount of utility that you have to do it. So let's see which one they opt to go for on this half buy or force up.
Just a big priority on utility here on this round, basically, so they can still line up for the execute that you were just talking about. So in they're going to go, but the response from the CTs is just as strong. Nade's going to go down. Sadly, it's thrown just a tad early, so it doesn't really do any damage. 4 HP knocked off of Yugi. That's it. This one could do some work, though, and there we go. It's about 30 or 40 HP off the config, and now Xantari's going to finish it off. A little bit too close to the flames, though, so that will finish him off. But Calyx can now take his place from behind the back triple. He's looking for more. He's failed to account for the player pushing up close. Skate gets himself an AK. He's now holding at the triple box as he's going to look for even more. But Calyx goes underneath of the platform, takes him down, and just Snappy stuck in a corner. Great reaction to find Engine, but he's still locked in. He's got infinite time to play this. However, Major, actually, I thought it was the nade that would kill him, but no, it's the USP from way down at Ticket.
Yeah, wow, that got a little bit crazy outside, but they ended up dealing with it. OpTic didn't, the thing is, they didn't invest a lot into that round, but it was everything they had. So now they're going to be saving, and obviously Xantaris just has to get 2 there before dying in the fire. But yes, this is full-on save here for OpTic. Not exactly sure what the economic situation looked like before that made them want to force up based on how much they had left over with just the one rifle, but it did come close. So it's clear they had a plan in mind. Engine testing the waters up at B. Config's down to just his Glock.
And already players from OpTic have started to fall here. Sadly, we're not really expecting much from them. They are just going to go for a quick rush through the apartments. The bomb's actually like about 5 seconds or so behind them, too, so they need to be careful about their pacing on this one. They don't want to overextend themselves before the bomb's even here. Sniper nade moves in and knocks out Config, and then Engine gets up close and personal for the final kill against Yugi. It's another round that goes quite convincingly the way of Space Soldiers, and they are really taking control of not only the lead, but just control the overall map situation now. It's 6-4.
Yeah, the economy as well. It's definitely looking strong for them. There's going to be no option in play for OpTic. Excuse the alliteration.
It's all good. What we are going to see this time from OpTic is more mid control as they send 4 players directly into mid, and there's a complete absence of mid control from Space Soldiers this time because they expected this to go towards the ramp. They send 3 players there over towards Tetris, the Sandwich, and Calyx himself pushing directly towards it. But what this has allowed, though, is OpTic to just walk right up to the bottom of mid, into connector, into the window room. They're getting a lot of control, and now it's just about this impending fight where OpTic's going to have to quickly try to wrap back out and kill the players that are holding towards ramp. It's Xantares, though, that takes the opening duel by going back to front triple, takes out Snappy, and is now kind of halted OpTic entirely. They're not making any more forward momentum. I think, though, there's a reason for it, because as we see, Config has got this big rack, going to walk right in. There's an assisting flash to help him out a little bit here. He's having trouble with the second kill, but at least keeps them in a corner, and this is going to let the players moving in from connector make their moves as well. At least putting one more kill himself up onto the board, but it seems like they've been isolated. Calyx as well gives himself away, but still puts the kill up onto the board. He's got 2 more to go to clutch this back out and keep Space Soldiers in control. Otherwise, OpTic are going to keep this close. The assisting flash once again coming in from back Ticket. However, Cajun decides not to make the play just yet. He's completely unknown to Calyx, however, so he's still able to quickly knock him out. We do see another gun round claim for OpTic.
Yeah, just a bit tunnel vision that 1v2 about Cajun being on default, but it was a good rotate out, and even that Molotov was just convinced that he'd still be around there. This the flank that was afforded to OpTic because Config went into window and then back through CT. And the thing is, there was no way they could have expected this because the amount of information that they gave up so early on. But it was really the worst case scenario for them because OpTic decided to go fast mid like they did on this round, but Major catches them off. Now Xantaris is taken off the table. Definitely the strongest fragger that we've seen so far.
Yugi showing up on Cat all of a sudden as well, but Major continuing to hold the back foot. And not only that, but he's dropped the bomb this time as well. Cajun snuck in, got a lot of control of the site, but they're going to have to work almost towards a flank now at this point, considering their current situation. Space Soldiers just lock themselves down inside of the window room. Yugi's got a chance to push towards it. Oh no! It doesn't end up full killing because the paneling blocks it for some reason. So Major only ends up getting light because of it. Thankfully, Cajun still on his own lurk. He's able to take him out. And now it's just Engine, who Cajun will just completely execute. Damn. Allow OpTic to tie us back up again.
Oh, wow. Okay. And yeah, again, window control has been the key. Like, if you're to go back and watch the demo for this match, it's been all about window for OpTic, and rounds that they haven't actually been able to get it. Xantaris has been way too powerful, so it's really about imposing their presence and getting that far out mid that's been key for them. Even the straight-up A-takes haven't worked so well, though they have done that on mixed buys. But now they've got Space Soldiers back on an eco, and this is kind of in terms of pacing where you would go for the strats you wouldn't normally do to keep it to make it seem like in the other team that you're pretty unpredictable. Like, right, go to the site that you wouldn't go to on a rifle round to make it seem like that option's on the table for a rifle round.
Snappy diving right in, however, finds himself the opening kill on the round as finally Space Soldiers on an eco sadly are just not going to be able to fight back in these open situations here. They have to hope someone passes them by and they can get a good headshot angle lined up. Alex is the only one that can really take a open 1v1 duel at this point due to the CZ in his hands. Everyone else not working with enough to be able to do that. But the good news is they do have Snappy incredibly low, but they're able to find a Major moving forward. Knocks out Config at the very least, making a bit of a mess of this situation. But the bomb in the meantime has gone down at A, and Major really just looking to contain any of the Ts that still remain in this site. Hopefully looks to get away with that AK too, and he should now have a pretty easy job of doing that now that they've managed to take down Snappy.
Yeah, whatever he can do, really. The MAC-10. Kind of like the minimal investment. And he's up here, you can see Major frantically looking back and forth from the ladder room, trying to anticipate his next engagement. But it doesn't seem like OpTic are on the trail. And in fact, in terms of the money, I would say, I mean, they can, I was wondering why OpTic maybe weren't so keen on trying to fight him. I guess they're just, there's 2 rounds left. I mean, there's potentially would have been a good reason to go and try to get those kills because I think they buy no matter what.
So OpTic,
but maybe they're playing underwater backgammon, and I just can't see it.
It's often you decide not to chase those kills down, and we are going to start to see Space Soldiers spread out a little bit more at the beginning of this round. Zantara's going in the mid. A solid 2-man setup on B this time, and even Paz rotating over early, but we've seen this previously. Calyx and Major, though, are pretty risky at this point, especially if we end up seeing Major go down here, too. They've got to immediately pull the window player back because of the depth of Calyx, and Config strikes again. Snappy finding the rotate from Paz, too. Tries to go for another one. Back over by the connector, but Xantares, he's not going to be able to make it out. Config through the smoke, finding Xantares, leaving only Engine in this fight, 1v4.
That's really the ferocity they needed to close out this half, and there will be one more round, but damn, Space Soldiers now have lost a round that they kind of set a precedent for winning, which is like that A control versus straight up A hits, and Config just coming straight out, being aware of the fact that it's going to be a rifle working with an op in tandem and taking them both down with just careful peeks. And as we can see, everybody putting in kind of an equal amount of work across the board. OpTic now taking a slight lead when it seemed like it was going to turn into Space Soldiers half.
Config's gonna run himself back here too now. We've got Yugi. He's patiently trying to watch out to see if Engine would make an attempt to go in and scavenge anything, but not gonna happen. He remains safe inside of the ladder room right up on top, and it doesn't look like anyone's even gonna be able to get close to him. They failed to hunt that down, so he keeps that in check at least, and that's going to guarantee at least an M4 and an op going into the final round for Space Soldiers. Beyond that, though, they do have to scrap by a bit here. It's gonna be a lot of umps, a lot of CZs for sure.
Yeah, so I can see those entries one more time. Highly confident. You know this guy is. Ended it off with another A take. 4 players postured up to attack the A site with a bit of a distraction at mid to pull the connector player away just momentarily. Again, Snappy taking a lead here at mid. So he can make moves. Oh, with the op shot missing. That's a really big deal because the smoke makes it look like a cat play.
Alex finding a trade back. Bring us down to a 4v4. He's going to continue to hold back. Triple the Molly's going to force him out, though. Burning him right into the open. It's a 2v1 there. One of the T's panicking, but Config stays strong and continues to find consistent entry power here for OpTic, as they're going to be able to move in, once again taking A site control. It's not the most solid, however, as Engine's going to be able to move in from the backside. It's not just him that struck. Major's also found a kill on the op. Paz, though, has failed to account for Config, and he's lurking right around him right now. He's in the corners expecting it all, but Config still gets the headshot too quickly. That's going to knock out Paz, bring us down to a 2v2. Reminder, however, that the bomb has still not gone down on the ground yet.
Yeah, it is a big deal because they only have a Molotov, which means that they will have to man cover one of the choke points. And instead, actually, Config kind of plays for himself in the situation, knowing that no one's in CT. Leaving Engine now in a 1v2 in the final round, and Snappy, very confident peek over the top of the stairs, closes it out and provides OpTic with a pretty reasonable lead. 3 rounds.
Yeah, so we're up in the 9-6 territory again. It's been a familiar scoreline for us this evening, as 3 out of 4 of the games we've casted have had this at halftime. It's good, though. It means we get some close games. For Space Soldiers, as we can see, it means they're going to have to fight from the back end a little bit here as they switch over to the other side, jumping into the second half.
Yeah, must be surprising for them. They looked pretty strong after immediately after the two anti-ecos pulled together these like very impressive rifle rounds right away, and you know I think Xantares getting 2 or 3 to 4 kills each of those rounds was a big part of that. But I think there should have been a way for them to consistently maintain that, or at least some level of it, with knowledge that OpTic were going to go A, like that one round they had the stat going on with 4 players close to A ramp, but still weren't able to win that. Seems like they had a good read on what OpTic's game plan was. Here's a mastermind behind it all.
Stone cold as
telepathically. He doesn't need a mic. Telepathically feeding them information.
He just looks at the player he wants to communicate with.
He doesn't care about the coaching rule. He's got telepathy.
He has Professor X powers. He can manage all that. Well, we'll jump back into the second half now. OpTic now on CT side and Space Soldiers on the other end of things as they're going to go for the T side this time. It's a quick walk down the B halls for the majority of them. Going to leave Major at top mid just in case the CTs get a little bit itchy to try to get aggressive and find things out. Snappy with a clean headshot, though. He's going to get flashed away, and that's going to force him to the bench position. But Cajun's here with a CZ. Puts 1, nearly 2 together. We were hoping Snappy would have been able to finish things off, but at least about time for Cajun to get the reload off. He's got Engine, takes him down. Now just a few remain here for Space Soldiers as Calyx and Major are going to try to keep it together, but Yugi finds another clean USP headshot. Just Calyx in this situation here, trying his best to play it slow, isolate these individual 1v1s. There's the first pickup for him. He's managed to work behind bench where he's got a safe position. This is pretty much just a 1v2 DM that he's going to try to play out, but sadly he won't come out on top of it. Config gets that last kill, and OpTic will maintain their lead to start off the second half.
Yeah, couldn't have put it any better. It just comes down to the DM and that play from bench and a second pistol round for OpTic. I mean, that's just going to put them in the comfort zone for real. They've got now, what, 5 rounds left? 4 or 6, excuse me.
For what?
To close this out.
It'll be 7, I think. Or 9. Oh, you know, I was looking at the HLTV. That's the wrong score. So yeah,
I didn't mean to do that to you.
It's all good.
I wasn't trying to do that to you.
I got thrown off by that because obviously we don't have the delay on ours. But moving into the next round, Space Soldiers just forcing into this as we would usually expect. Sadly, no plant was gained for them, so that much of a reason to hold for the full save on the second round. Just going to buy into it completely this time. You do see a bit of a slow lurk towards top mid too. It's looking like OpTic were kind of expecting it to go towards B again, and they're not necessarily wrong to do so. Major did make a push towards it, and I think got spotted. But for the most part, Space Soldiers are just holding on that side lane at top mid.
Pretty aggressive up here in the B halls. Snappy's going to hear a couple of pairs of footsteps as well as the deagle shot going off. The deep smoke might incentivize him to getting even closer. I don't know if he goes through this. Might wait for a flash, actually. They leap into his welcoming arms, and he gets away as well.
However, yeah, there's going to be the cat push that comes back in. Cajun still somehow controlling the situation despite his very exposed position. And now the cavalry's arrived, and they're going to shut down the rest of this push as OpTic went out their first anti-eco with only 1 player going down.
Yeah, nothing to worry about there, and yeah, they handled that well. I mean, the double smoke in deep B clearly was a problem for OpTic because whoever's splitting, the players on cat are just waiting so that the B apps guys can meet them, and so they can push with proper spacing. But if one half of that push gets smoked off, it makes everybody really uncomfortable because at a certain point, the mid guys got to go. They're exposed to way too many angles, and that's what we saw take place.
Look at this Config gonna run right up. Finds the duel. There's the peek. Takes to the player that's hiding in the cubby. Man, that's such great control from Config to get that second quick headshot against Calyx as well. Granted, it's anti-eco kills, but still, great control of the situation being shown by Config. Once again, he's gonna add 1 more to the counter. He knocks out Paz. Last 2 aren't even gonna stand a chance. Now the Cajun's pushed out from Cat, and that'll be another quick one for OpTic as they control the situation at 12-6.
Yugi's another player who we actually just haven't mentioned very much kind of at this event. It's obviously not a problem in this game, and in maybe their last series, but he is somebody who people are starting to sing the praises of it, that like at the tone of, you know, tier 1 world class operas, you know, that have really established themselves in the pantheon of great operas in Counter-Strike, and just kind of not been at the forefront of the conversation at this event so far. So maybe there's still room for him to turn up. Here he is, Yugi with the op. No opponent here to fight him just yet. More attention to Snappy. He's got one of the weaker guns on the server, and he's also kind of alone and blind. Definitely not how I want to die.
Xantares will be able to finish off the lone and blind Snappy. As now the rest of the team still has to prop up for next year. Remember, they're still basically playing into a default at this point, so it's going to take at least another 20 seconds or so before they can get the whole team together for an actual push. That obviously gives plenty of time for OpTic to rotate another player back over towards B and make up for the loss of Snappy there. But obviously that is still going to leave mid relatively vulnerable. But at this point in time, it's not looking like Space Soldiers are showing too much interest in mid. That's going to change now, however. We've got the bomb carrier, Major, along with Calyx. Never mind. They're not going to head towards mid. They're all just going to back up into those B halls, group up for the hit instead, directly onto the B site since they found the entry there.
We're excited to kind of see the colony of T's getting closer before they throw their nades out. Great flash onto Yugi. Config here to help him out. First op shot's good. Engine takes out his support. Yugi pulls out the deagle and a first frag.
He's not going to be able to do any more than that. Gets knocked out after the fact. Cajun go for a quick rotate through Cat, I believe. And Gage is going to hold the fort. Oh, that bomb's still stuck in apartments, too. They lost it on the entries. This is going to take another, like, 5 seconds or so at least before they start planting. And there we go. Finally, he's going to end up going down to the ground. Gage uses this, pushes back out. He hears the plant, takes out the planter. Now it's a 2v1. Great situation for OpTic, but Paz is still going to look for the clutch situation. And he's even read into that fleck through the apartment. So he knocks out Cajun, clutches the 1v2, and keeps Space Soldiers alive in this map as they find a 7th, their first round on T side.
Gade could have obviously ended the round there, but he also had a really strong pillar to work with and could have delayed a little bit longer to put pressure on bench in that situation. And we could see that Paz can suddenly play a position that wouldn't have been possible if Gade was still alive. So him staying alive and just doing damage or even feigning presence would have been better than him committing to a fight like he did. But a good play from Paz nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely. Great 1v2 clutch to keep Space Soldiers in the game, as it was looking like they kind of lost themselves a little bit there. OpTic was going to be able to make a quick run in the second half, but thankfully that was not the case. Now Xantares even goes hunting potentially through that smoke for an opening kill. Backs away from it though, but they do have the massive stack in here to follow through with a quick execute. Much just Paz and I think Calyx that are a little bit further away from this. But they've got the other 3 players. Ending with a Mac 10 too could actually do a little bit of damage because this is a pretty close range fight they're going to be looking at. At the same time, the same can be said by the player at Van as yeah, Snappy's going to be able to drop the bomb again. They have to worry about the player of the rotated kitchen. I think Cajun's aware of it, but he's not fully aware. It's finally catches him, the timing works out as he knocks him out, but Paz is going to roll back in over on Cat, find the trade there. Calyx finally manages the Van player as he's able to take down Snappy, but now Yugi's a part of this equation too, and he finds the shot through the window, through the smoke as well, I believe, to take out Paz.
He's got to believe in the heart of the cards. That was a nice shot. And as confused as Cajun was, as he should have been in that situation, he managed to find his way into a very favorable fight versus the player who was flanking through market. So this was nice.
Definitely.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you could just turn on X-ray when you were playing. Good to know. Good to know.
So a pause is going to be called here, looking like it's coming from Space Soldiers, so they will use their first, actually, timeout so far in this one. As they had kept the game competitive up to this point, kind of lost their edge at the first half, but never really fell behind this heavily up until this point. It is getting to a bit of a drastic point very quickly, however. So it's 7-13. They've really only got 1 or 2 at most more gun rounds here before OpTic take the map.
Yeah. The buy-up. It's a meager buy-up. Engine with the head armor, smoke and a flash, and has actually invested quite a lot of money, actually. That's kind of surprising.
It's a weird split buy, too, because let me see what the money ended up looking like. Oh, no, everybody does end up buying down. That was just the delay on the buy UI there.
They've got grenades. I think they see this hard reset and they think, all right, well, we're pretty screwed. If we let it go to 15, we're still not going to have an amazing buy. Let's just try the force up. CZs are amazing.
They might have a chance at an early kill, though, because look at this stack back down at the bottom of ramp.
Objectively better than Galil's. So go for it. Hard to blame him in the current meta.
Okay, just solidly holding this position on ramp. Don't expect them as they move in either, so he rips apart 2 of them. It's Paz and Engine down first. Major's able to find a trade at mid, but that player's also gone back down to the grave as well. Just Xantares remaining in the equation from inside the path. Oh, Gade from underneath the platform finishes off the round.
Peekaboo, bitch. That's Groundhog Day. Nice
shot from Gade.
Again, just an eco, but a clean one. Well, actually, versus the Forza, that was really, you know, Space Soldiers putting it all on the line. 7-14, half the rounds, and almost none of the hope, I would imagine.
Yeah, full eco here, so I'd say it's incredibly likely. Might get the first kill at least. Oh, Paz showing up there a little bit. yeah, just overwhelmed by Glocks and one Deagle, which that Deagle is now down on the ground, sadly. They're down to just Glocks. OpTic want to get revenge for their fallen teammates, so they quickly move in and take full control of mid again. And they have completely pushed Space Soldiers outside of it. Just Engine and Xantari's alive back at the top mid area. And sadly, with just those 2 Glocks, they don't have much of a hope here. Xantari's as well already down at 13, and Engine's not looking much better at 61.
Time to go back to the drawing board. OpTic are now knocking on the door of victory. Look at those last rounds, the final buyout from Space Soldiers. They have let the rollover dollars in their economy accumulate, along with the loss bonus. And it's afforded them a very, a very decent buy. They don't have an op, but I don't think they necessarily want it. It's not a team where you think of their opper as like one of their star players. And OpTic are taking an unorthodox approach to the round with this underpass push with the op.
Works though, Yugi immediately striking down Xantari's, but Alex is allowed to go on Cat because of that. Finds 2 additional trades. It's even, however, because they also lost another player here. And now with Paz's additional kill, Space Soldiers all of a sudden take control of the situation. 3v2 here. Cajun's still trying to lurk back over towards mid. He's got to worry about Paz as well, so we can't push out too far. Thankfully, they were unaware of his position over by jungle, so Calyx goes down without a hope to return that frag. He's going to push out another kill found against Paz too. Just Engine left in this. He's got to save it. He's got to win this 1v2, otherwise the map goes to OpTic. And they will push ahead 1-0 in the series.
Don't know what Cajun ate for breakfast, but I want some. See, he's been playing smart all game and abusing that smoke, knowing that I think they put way too much stock in it. It's allowed them to just reach right back in and rip this round right back into their favor. Leaving an Engine in the 1v2. They'll finally retrieve the bomb.
He's going to walk back and he knows he's got jungle, but it doesn't matter as Cajun B is going to shut down one more frag to close out on this opening map. 16-6.